Great. Hello to the Safing live stream.
Hey.
We are back again, almost on time. Yeah, it has been a funny day today, and we just stumbled into the live stream today. So please be patient with us as we try to
figure out things.
not true. Apparently, so we thank you TCH to get everything rolling for asking questions in advance, and I just now realized that I probably misunderstood what the question was, because TCH said, and I was like talking to Daniel and was like, yeah, no, I have a couple of things I wanted to answer to TCH, and I think like Daniel understood immediately what you were talking about. I didn't. The question was, so to jump right in, and because it fits well into the bigger topic of today, the correct understanding, not mine. The question was, some time ago, there were updates almost every 2 weeks. What happened? And I thought, well, we're doing Safing Live still almost every 2 weeks. What are you talking about? But Daniel understood.
Software updates.
Software updates.
Obviously, Postmaster updates.
I don't think it's obvious. You can let us know in the live chat or look at the Discord question. That's where TCH put the question in. I don't think it's that obvious, but yeah. So why aren't there updates every 2 weeks? Just to let you know, we recorded the podcast Central Sounds of InfoSec, where I'm one of the co-hosts yesterday. Mm-hmm. I answered that question. And I would like to know, so if some of you are also listening to that podcast, I don't know why, but if you do, also let me know. I would be interested. So I recorded that yesterday, but he does not know because it won't be out till Friday, I think, next week. What's your answer to that question?
So there are multiple aspects to this. And one of the aspects is great news, which we'll share along the way. So I think this kind of, we had regular updates, which mean kind of x dot number, so kind of small bug fixes and stuff quite regularly, and that's how we usually do things. But the last month have been different. We had all sorts of things to do with infrastructure that we were looking into, fixing things, improving things. Also, I was sick for the last 2 weeks. Repo was sick. That kind of slowed us down.
It did. Also, Patrick was not feeling well. Also, so. Yeah. Lots of things coming together. I don't know if it was, and this was not my answer, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm kind of building up to something.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I'm just so you all know, that's also a reason why the last 2 live streams I've been on my own as well, and I think you saw us. There has been one live stream where we're both remote and stuff like that. Yeah, the beginning of the year, and I think that's fitting well into the third question of TCH, which is why I'm sliding that in and finishing what you're touching on here quickly.
Okay.
He asks, how are we doing in general? That's the third question. I feel like now we're doing good.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah,
we're both healthy.
Yeah. We're getting back at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the first couple months this year have been challenging in various ways. Also, one of our dear employees, Patrick, has lots of stuff going on in his life, so he decided to take a break from Safing. So we had kind of a time where we prepared his offboarding and finished stuff with him.
Yeah. Also related to infrastructure.
Also infrastructure.
Because he did a lot of that.
Yeah. And also we were onboarding Vladimir again, who's back at Safing now. Which we're very thankful for.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So you'll see a lot of stuff happening in other areas in the future. And also with kind of all these changes and everything that was happening, and kind of us taking time to reflect on kind of recent changes and things going on in let's say Thing and Portmaster. We decided to do a couple things to kind of, I would say, mostly decrease technical debt. So kind of we took some time to also reflect on decisions we made in Portmaster, and if these things were good or bad at the time, or like now, like things also changed. And so a couple of things came together where we said, actually, there are a couple fundamental things we want to change about Portmaster. And with Patrick leaving, we were like, okay, that's something we should do together. And we kind of pivoted to kind of fast forward that, because we believe that will improve the whole experience of people using Portmaster so much. And like so many of the bug reports we're getting over the last months will all be solved by this upgrade. Because these bug reports aren't things that are like things we can fix here and there. They're kind of inherent part of kind of the structure and like how we build Portmaster. And these bugs aren't the reason we're doing it. We're doing it because it's a very important change for us to go forward. So what is changing?
Maybe quickly, while we're already, you have a break.
Okay,
and
okay.
I'd like to say hello to Hunter. Thank you. And yeah, you can have your
I'm gonna have
your chocolate as well.
Italian
because he came in 2 minutes before the live stream started with a now you're doing the ad, with the Duplo. And I'm like, you can't just come in with one, what's up with you? And then he 1 minute before the live stream started went out and got another one. But thank you, Hunter, for oh, that looks so bad. Okay. And I wanted to quickly sort of add before you move on as well, like you're getting to what I said yesterday in the podcast. So I like that we're going in the same direction with this. But the other thing was, I because you said Patrick going, Patrick leaving and stuff like that. This is good for him. We think it's good for him. And it also, if he wants to come back, I wanted to have this publicly as well. He can always come back. It's not, So, and we told him this as well, but he needs to take a break, and it's leave without any pressure for him to come back. If he wants to go somewhere else, he of course is free to do so also. But we're very thankful for all the stuff he did over the years, and and so we wanted to. When he said he's sort of like getting into a pressure situation, we're like, okay, good, take a week off, and then let's try to figure out how to offboard you in a way that's calm for you, calm for us, and everything like.
And we're on really good terms. So of course he'll take a break now, but we already agreed that we'll kind of do some contract work once in a while, kind of where he has extended knowledge that we can use. So he'll not be like completely away, but almost. So he'll be coming and helping out saving here and there as he can. So
he put a lot into
really
this
great
as well over the years. Like Patrick has been one of our first hires, and he has been with us like through a lot of development, not just like through the code, but also us as like who we are, how we want to do things, and so on. And a lot of things in regards to how Portmaster works and how Portmaster looks is also very heavily influenced by him. So that's, I just wanted to give credit here and not just brush over it too quickly so that you all know. And if he's on the Discord or especially on Reddit, I think Vladimir's on both of those as well. But like Patrick is active there and probably will still be if he has the time. But again, like he wants to take it a little bit lighter, and we want to give him all the time he wants and needs. So
yeah,
that's the focus.
Okay.
So you were moving towards like we took the, and maybe now I will say what I said yesterday. What I said yesterday was that we had a big case of, well, while we're at it, let's just, and this compounded and compounded and compounded, and while we're at it, why don't we just, and of course, like with somebody who has touched so many things over the years and doing a handoff, touching everything again, well then, while we're at it, just increases and keeps increasing, and I agree. I think we needed to touch a lot of those things to sort of like stabilize more. And as you said, like many, like I think in a percentage perspective, I hope it's not too many, but I guess 1 in 4 bug reports is related to one of the things that we're now fixing for everybody. So I guess that's a percentage thing.
What are we doing? It's kind of the whole idea is to simplify and stabilize. Yeah. And so that means a couple things are changing. And the while we're at it mentality kind of was born out of us realizing this is going to be a breaking change. Everyone will have to reinstall. We don't know what this means exactly. You won't lose your stuff. We'll migrate stuff. So don't be scared. Just keep enjoying Portmaster. We will migrate you to whatever changes there are. But there will be a couple changes. So we're like, hey, if we already introduce a breaking change and everyone has to reinstall, why not just do this and this and these are other breaking changes too that while we're at it that we think are really good for Portmaster simplicity, which also of course increases stability and all sorts of stuff. So we're trying to reduce complexity that has grown into Portmaster, which makes it more maintainable, faster, everything. So for example, one thing that we did recently was we've moved everything, all kind of our different repos, not all of them, but almost, and we'll continue to push that. We're moving them into one repo. That means it will be a lot easier to make changes across the systems, and also it'll be a lot easier for people from outside to build everything. So I'm just finishing up the new build system, which with one command builds all components. So that's really cool. That makes it all easier for people to contribute and to help us out also. So let's get into the details. What is changing?
Hunter is asking, not sure if it's serious, but is that gonna be a minor update?
I'm gonna get to that soon.
And Mike just says, get it all done at once. Good plan. I feel a lot of encouragement coming from Discord.
So first of all, we're getting rid of Electron. We're replacing Electron with something called Tauri.
What's important about Tauri? Tell the people why Tauri is so great. Why are you laughing? What's the selling feature of Tauri?
Tauri is a framework that not kind of is built in Rust. That's what Rafael wants me to say. And is really great for desktop experiences. So it's much smaller, it's much faster, and uses the rendering technologies of the OS. So that's also kind of a new dependency that comes in, which might not be installed, so we need to ship a new installer for that. And also the installers will be built by kind of the Tauri ecosystem in the future. we'll also with that be moving. We're not exactly sure how it'll be, but we're pretty sure about it that every release will have a full offline installer.
We heard everybody.
With everything moving together and simplifying, that makes a lot of sense.
And it makes it tons easier.
Yeah. We don't know if we'll keep the automatic updates for binaries, but we'll keep automatic updates for filter lists, of course, and that stuff. We'll kind of also be splitting how the directory structures are used. That will make it a lot easier for some Linux distros to correctly build packages. That was a challenge for things like NixOS and Fedora Silverblue and all these kind of new
Tumbleweed.
Read-only file system.
No, Tumbleweed is not, but yeah.
OSS distros. So we're drastically improving support there. So we're kind of trying to simplify everything and make it more compatible for more use cases and more areas. So that's the next thing. Then we'll go into touching a couple internal stuff at Portmaster. We'll kind of simplify the internal structure, like how different parts work together. That will make it easier to for testing. Will make it easier to build different versions. Right now, there's still some weirdness going on because we have dependencies that we don't want in all cases, for example. So, and also we'll be switching from the database system. So we've used different databases in the past. We used Bbolt and what was the other one? Dagger.
Whatever. But we're moving towards.
Yeah, so we're moving towards SQLite.
Even though it's not the best fit, but from a performance perspective,
it's just proven, it's stable, and we'll be using it partly just as a key value database.
Exactly.
And partly we'll be kind of using custom tables in there. That's how you normally use SQLite. So it's gonna be a bit different than kind of your typical SQLite, but still it's a great format. It's super stable and compatible. It won't break. It'll stay small.
Which are all the goals we currently
installations
have.
Won't kind of grow too much anymore because now people have installs that grow a couple of gigabytes big, and that's not where we want to go. So we want to keep it small, keep it simple, keep it fast. So kind of really, it just happens kind of when you work on something, things just get bigger and kind of, I want to say bloaty, because I do think that we actually really try hard to keep things small and good, but still it's a challenge. But now we're stepping up that game and improving that a lot. So installs will become smaller, more maintainable, and
offline.
Yeah, offline, you can install them offline. That's a lot of changes that are coming in there, and we've finished with some of them, and we're still have to work on others. So what we've done the last months is finish the parts where we need Patrick for.
Yeah.
So these parts are now done, and now that I have time here again to invest, I will actually first complete the feature we promised
syncing
for a while now, which is directory syncing. So sync all your settings with the directory on your device.
Which almost should have come out, which is like
which is almost done for some time now.
Exactly. TCH was asking like almost 2 weeks, and this was almost done last year. You know, and we're already in April, like the first quarter. It's like exactly. So that's the reason why I'm like, well, we're just at it, you know. Let's just do this as well. But you're right. So, I think it was wise to go about it in that manner. But yeah.
So things happened, and kind of I think we reacted to it all these changes in the best way we could and in the best interest of our users.
All of them.
So
the reason why I'm saying that is because like the offline installer, of course, is super interesting for people who are like with worse internet connection and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we know about them, also, like everybody who's in the
updates
Asian
will be
area.
downloaded from GitHub in the future, not our own servers.
Makes it easier. They're doing the.
They have the CDN. Like
exactly,
we have
CDN
so many
stuff.
problems with people downloading stuff not in the Europe or US. Everywhere else seems to have kind of more issues with downloading stuff like that. So not everything will come from GitHub. Just kind of the releases that we kind of
the binary, like
build
binary
on
releases.
GitHub and will live on GitHub. So we'll you'll download over their CDN. Or of course, if you use the normal installer, you can always choose to download the installer from us too, or somewhere else if you want to just manually update.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
use GitHub, but GitHub will be the fastest option worldwide.
Yeah.
And if you use our stuff, it would probably, like, we know people have told us that it is slow in India, in Australia. So like global East and global South South America, of course, as well. We have people who reached out who are like, why is this so slow? And we're like, well, our stuff is hosted in Germany, you know, like the installers are hosted in Germany, and we have a couple of servers. We do load balancing. We upgraded them multiple times over the years. Yeah. And quite recently we doubled our capacity there as well, but it's like doubled it again because we see so much traffic on the downloads. But it's like, if you're too far away, it is a TCP connection, and it's just slow. And like TCP over big, TCP over big areas.
Yeah, with high latency can also be an issue.
Yeah, exactly. It limits your download speed, the latency.
It really depends on the server and the client. Yeah. So it's really like, TCP has so many extensions already, and if all sites support all of them, it should work really well. But the network can also always interfere, and
it's not everybody. Like, I guess like some people are saying, well, they don't experience any issues, and some people are like, I'm waiting here for half an hour for it to download. What is happening? And I'm like, this should not be the case. It's like it, and you can see in the video. I think I did not do any cuts in the YouTube video where I installed Portmaster, but of course, like, I'm here in Austria and the servers are in Germany, so super easy, super fast, and no issues here. And I'm on the 50 megabits down, so that's fairly fast.
Fairly fast, yeah. So, so that's kind of what we want to do, kind of just to stabilize, simplify. Yeah. What will be a bit weird is that kind of how versioning works technically is that you have these three numbers, number, dot, number, dot, number. And the last one is kind of bug fixes. The second one is features. And the first one is actually for breaking changes. That's what we're doing. So that means...
Which, of course, nobody uses. Like, Firefox, I think, is on version 127. Yeah. Never seen a breaking change in Firefox.
That's called SEMver, or semantic versioning. That's what I would guess 99% of projects use. So what that means is that with these breaking changes, Portmaster will go version 2. That's weird because
no features.
If you just install the new thing, there will be hardly any changes. You won't notice a lot of this stuff, except for probably the app starting a lot faster.
It only being like it being an offline installer in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So of course there will be a couple changes, but kind of the UI will be the same, and kind of the features will be the same, and all that stuff. So it won't be kind of the new version, like, Windows does a version increase. Oh, it's coming. Yeah.
Windows 10 to 11. You're talking about Windows 8.
That's true.
They walked that back. Pretty hard.
But okay, so there won't be any like groundbreaking like visual changes like we had with Windows 8. But yeah, so that's kind of, and we're at version 1.6 now, and we'll be version 1.7 with the directory syncing. So version 2.0 doesn't feel too weird, we think. But yeah, we just want to like stress that it is a breaking change. There will be lots of differences technically, and you won't be able to just kind of switch back and forth or something. So kind of there will be a migration. It will be a one-way process, but then you're on version 2, and that's it. And yeah, we hope to start beta testing version 2 in about 3 months, I would say.
Which gives you a time horizon. Beta testing in 3 months.
Yeah, beta testing in 3 months. Maybe some components will arrive earlier, so maybe the new Tauri app, the new UI framework thing, that we may kind of have a installer just for that, so people can beta test just the UI, because that's a big new component. Also, the notifier will die because that's now part of the Tauri app, which is cool. One component less. Great.
Which also, like, some people are asking, oh, I want to, the click behavior of the icon of the notifier change and stuff like that. We're not touching it anymore because we're moving away from that structure, because it will move into the Tauri.
Yeah, and changes on that stuff will be a lot easier because Tauri is written in Rust, and the other stuff was written in Go. And Go is amazing language for services, but Rust is just still a step closer to the OS, and there are more libraries for OS interaction, stuff like that. So that makes it easier to interact with the OS in that regard, and we'll have more freedoms there. Not promising anything, just saying things will be easier to change if we decide to do so. That's kind of the, on the one side exciting, on the other side not so exciting version 2 announcement. But we're really looking forward to this because also kind of how we simplify the whole building process and releasing stuff will help us increase our development speed. So this is kind of also a long-term investment in order to work better together as a team, push forward faster, be able to make changes quicker, more confidently, because we can test better. The components are smaller with the updates. Now that we're kind of in a more stabilizing phase, because like 2 years ago we were kind of in a fast iteration phase where like automatic updates were great. Now we're in a stabilizing phase, so it's actually beneficial to us if updates roll out slowly when users update. So when we'll still have kind of the beta people on the newer version earlier. That will still be our primary kind of battle testing grounds. So thanks to all the beta users out there, that's a great help for us. But then also, we have just seen so many different devices, kind of the professor runs on, and so the beta testers won't be able to like have 100% coverage on kind of edge cases,
which we saw with Windows 7 when we unintentionally killed support for it. We had obviously nobody beta testing on Windows 7. And when we pushed the last UI update, we killed support for Windows 7. And there's a workaround, but
that's true. Electron.
Exactly. Electron killed, or Chromium killed support for Windows 7. Electron is Chromium based, so Electron killed support for Windows 7. And when we updated Electron, we did not see that coming. Otherwise, we would have told people or had sort of like a change for them in advance. But now we just said, well, here you go. You need to edit the config file in those two areas. But well,
Also, with that change, it will be a lot easier for people to
reverse.
stay on older versions longer, which is nothing we recommend.
No, yeah.
But
Because
if
the
there's
support
a good
won't
reason,
be there for that.
if there's a good reason, you can choose to do so.
Yeah. If you're in Windows 7, for instance.
And we'll still have
and haven't updated your operating system in 4 years, then of course you cannot expect everything to be working on your operating system.
Yeah, and we still have kind of the broadcast notification system. So if we know of an issue,
we will let you know.
We can still contact the kind of do a broadcast notification, which is a public notification with kind of display criteria. So we can kind of send a notification to all Portmaster users of a specific version and tell them your version has an issue, please upgrade now.
Yeah, maybe with a link or something.
Yeah, so we can still kind of do damage control if anything goes really wrong. Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. So people can stay on older versions longer. If there's an issue with a new version, that's kind of just for them, because again, there's so many different devices out there, and that's really cool that we can kind of move forward with stuff, and people can still keep using Portmaster.
Okay, a couple of messages just arrived. Maybe quickly to clarify, how does broadcast notifications work? It's not a push notification, it's a pull. When you pull auto, updating filter lists and so on.
Updates, yeah.
And Intel, that's called Intel updates. There are filter list updates in there. There's GeoIP database updates in there. In this pull, the notifications come all with together. You don't tell us. We don't know what operating system you have, and locally your Portmaster checks when do I need to display this, and stuff like version number, as you said, is one of the things it checks. And we can your Portmaster locally can see, well, I have that version number, so I'm going to display this notification. Yeah. That's how that works. It's nothing is push. We don't see what operating system you're running. We don't know whatever. That's just part of what you download, and your local Portmaster, of course, knows what operating system it's running on, and that's why it's displayed. I want to say hey to TCH, because this is a while back and I answered him, and apparently hey to Moss twice, I think. I hope I get this right. And then we have some from Mike J, a comment about Windows 7 diehards he does not understand. Me neither, but apparently Ben is one of them. So one of my co-hosts of the podcast I'm on don't get that. I think he has multiple laptops, the same one, because he's a writer, and so he likes to have everything in the same place when he writes. And apparently Windows 7 was the last time he thought upgrading was necessary. So who knows? But Windows XP gang, I don't know. Windows XP was not that much of a fan. I actually was one of the crazy people who was on Vista. So, but yeah, I would consider myself an early adopter. Hello, Triro. Finally caught one of these. I guess you're talking about live stream. So shout out to you. Thank you for being here. It is the same time every 2 weeks. So if you're not in the States and you don't have to get up too early, or if you're not in Europe and have to be somewhere during that time, be welcome. But you can also write in questions in advance, either on Discord or in the comments below, and we will check them. Yeah. So,
and the recordings are on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, but I guess he knows that. And PB, hello. Oh, that's a question.
We'll go into that later.
We will go into that later.
Quick addition to the broadcast notifications. So every Portmaster downloads all of the broadcast notifications and then checks locally if they're displayed. For example, we have a couple of broadcast notifications that check for potentially dangerous settings. So if you do, that's kind of one way how we try to kind of help you to stay secure. So if you do a stupid setting for longer, just not for testing, it will alert you and be like, wait a second, this is a weird combination of settings, you shouldn't do that, please do it like this or that. So that's, for example, something we use that for to alert users. and help them stay secure. Yeah. There was something else we wanted to.
Yeah.
I want to get into.
TCH asked a different question as well. And now he's here as well.
Okay.
So we can go into that if you want.
I think were we done with kind of version 2 things?
You talked about the sync feature, that it will come out before that.
Okay.
And that we are then moving towards this. And
I just feel like we kind of tripped into multiple topics now, and
sure.
I don't know where we came from.
Sure,
but
people can ask if
let's just continue somewhere.
Then let's continue with the initial question, like the second question from TCH. We're half an hour in, so I guess it's a good time to start with that second question. How high is the VPN compatibility mode on the to-do list? It had something to do with package labeling. And I think you said like you were curious about where the idea with the package labeling came from, but...
No, I think I know what it means.
Okay.
So
today you just are so in sync with TCH, and I'm not. So who knows?
So there are like multiple things. Like there are multiple common issues with VPNs.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you start there. Great idea.
Yeah. So the two biggest ones I think are, first of all, DNS. VPNs often come with their own DNS and want to enforce that. Portmaster wants to enforce its own DNS because Portmaster is a secret DNS.
So usually they break each other.
Yeah, so they kind of fight, and while fighting, everything dies. So
that's when we need the capabilities of killing our applications. We just kill the other application, you know? I'm not actually saying that's not a solution.
I'm not sure if I think we did that for a while.
We did?
Yeah, but only for local, not for like, because VPNs often just have kind of a special firewall rule where they redirect packets to their remote DNS server. But if there was a local DNS server, we just tried killing it for some time. I think we stopped doing that. Yeah. Being too aggressive isn't always helpful.
No.
So let's clear. First, VPN compatibility issue, common one, is DNS and DNS enforcement. So that's one. The second one is, I think, what TCH is talking about, which is on Linux with WireGuard. WireGuard uses something called connection marks. So within the Linux network stack, there is the firewall called IP or not NF tables, and it has the capability of tracking connections. So you can kind of decide based on a connection, not only packets, which is usually the mental model we have for stuff on the internet. Is a connection, and you can kind of add a mark to it to kind of remember things about a connection. And that's what WireGuard uses to remember things about a connection, and that's also what Portmaster uses to remember things about a connection. Because if you remember that in the kernel space, within the network stack, it's a lot faster than kind of asking Portmaster every time and then continuing. That's slow. We don't like slow. So we're using...
And no, our users don't like slow. We would maybe be okay with... Yeah, we don't like slow either. But our users, of course, as well. Like every time when somebody's like, oh, something gets slower with Portmaster, I'm like, I don't know what potato you're running Portmaster on. But typically, everything should be fast.
Yeah. So the first thing, the DNS thing, we're trying to solve that. We already have a proof of concept of the difficult parts. So how we're trying to solve that is to actually go ahead and make the secure DNS resolver optional. Right now it's like force enabled because we need to see things in the DNS for Portmaster to work. And what we're wanting to do is, instead of forcing the security-ness feature of Portmaster to see that, we want to kind of inspect or like kind of observe what the OS is doing. So normally the OS is handles DNS requests. So on Windows, there's this service called DNS Client, which is a Windows service, part of the Windows operating system. And on Linux, most Linuxes have systemd resolved, which is also a DNS client. And we can't see the DNS requests between applications and these resolvers because they use a special API and don't go over the network. So we have to kind of query and politely ask these services to provide us their information so we can have the insights we need for example, the filter lists, so that they work correctly. So what we're doing here is we're gonna kind of add more integration into the OS so we can gather more information that will help us make the security-ness client optional, and that will solve most problems with VPNs. The second issue with WireGuard on Linux using connection marks, we don't have a good way forward with that. So that's something we have to kind of still find a solution. So that's something we will need to look into. There is a way these connection marks can coexist, because connection marks can use bit masking, but that would require a cooperation between Portmaster and WireGuard. So I don't know if WireGuard leaves enough bits for us. So we'd have to kind of.
And we're okay with that. We would like to work with WireGuard.
We could ping them and ask if they would be interested to kind of increase compatibility and cooperate, and kind of how can we use that together.
Yeah. Which of course then is the native WireGuard people again we can talk to. If that even
works, because we still might be kind of resetting each other's marks at some point. So there may be an option for that. Other than that, for kind of the WireGuard on Linux, I think I'm not sure if that's only if you're doing a WireGuard with a default root for everything, or if it also applies for just a subnet. I'm not sure about that one. Anyway, so that's a bit more complicated, and we don't have a clear path forward there. So that's something we still need to investigate and see how we go forward there. So I hope that answers the question sufficiently. I think the question was for priority. I don't think we have a set priority at the moment. Our horizon is version 1.7, version 2. That's kind of our working horizon at the moment.
Which is we got a little bit triggered. We had to change our priorities. We talked about this earlier. And you already said I just wanted, because there are new people on the live stream, version 2 will be within 3 months. So you can expect 1.7 fairly soon. Then there will be a long beta phase with different stuff within the next 3 months. Mm-hmm. Some stuff can come earlier. Please be on the Discord, and we will let you know. And then we will sort of start with 2.0, which will have tons of under the hood improvements. And then we can reprioritize, and then we can look at different options. What is going on? Yeah. Maybe WireGuard already reached out back then, and maybe we can then talk with them, or whatever. The world will look different in 3 months, I guess. And so we will see what has changed till then and what the actual priorities back then are.
But we also already have a proof of concept, so
Yeah.
there is definitely a clear path forward.
Exactly. Helps, of course.
Helps.
We're not like
makes it more. How to say that?
the chances of
yeah,
doing it while we're at it increase when we already know how we are going to do it. You know,
That is true.
Not sure if that's a good thing, but that's just how things are. And I learned that over the years. Like, if we already know how we're going to do it, well, then while we're at it, let's just implement that as well. Do you want to answer PB's question about IPv6?
Yeah. So I've tried investigating that a lot of times. The thing is, the exact cause is still not known, and I can't reproduce it. That makes it difficult. So I guess I think what is happening is that there is an issue with IP version 6 messages, which are required for kind of the network doing its autoconf thing, and that's what I suspect being the issue. So not sure about that. I think someone said that if you create a rule that allows any ICMP version 6 packets in, it works again, but I don't know why that changes anything, because ICMP non-echo and echo request ICMP messages are always allowed because there's just so many edge cases with them, and they actually always belong to another connection that updates metadata information. ICMP is a kind of very complex thing, how it interacts with other connections on the US level. Yeah. So many edge cases, so hard kind of to trying to do that. So we kind of on filtering we focus on echo messages, so echo request, echo reply. That's kind of what people know as ping, which is only a very small part of ICMP. So the Internet Control Message Protocol does a lot of stuff, and we don't want to touch and interfere with the US. So not sure why allowing ICMP version 6 as an incoming connections fixes that, but that's one possible workaround there is for that. Yeah.
I quickly tried to read through all the things happening on the Discord.
Okay.
It's a conversation. We don't need to get into it. If the people just watching on YouTube have not been on Discord, tons of messages, lots about Roblox, and you can look into it.
Okay.
But I think a good question to answer, because Moss asked was what happened to the goal about hiring an Android developer? It jumped from 30 down to 3, and I guess, and I want to quickly look at the notification. That's partly the reason why I opened up my Portmaster here. Back to 3%, and we said, like, we explained it. We hope we explained it in the message. And I told Daniel, well, I'm not sure. We should do a blog post explaining it as well. And basically, just the gist of it. And I think we talked about this in live streams in the past as well. We were not expecting how fast and how well this all worked back in November.
Yeah.
When we first started reporting this, we thought it will take some time till we hit 100. But we already, in the very first blog post, it's still up, you can look at it, told people the next thing after the 100 will be an Android developer. But we also told, we wrote, how are we arriving at the number that we're having? We're taking the mean of the last 3 months. Why do we do that? Because some months are bigger than others. Like if you have anything to do with retail, and we're not retail, but like if you have anything to do with retail, you know that December is a big month and that January is a slow month because people are sort of like in a spending mood in December, and they're in an, oh gosh, I have no money left in January. And that's basically the same situation we saw as well. So that's the reason why like last month in March, December was still part of like December, January, February. So the week January got like compensated by the big December, and now December is out, and so it's only thing. And we're super comfortable with it being a bit above, slightly above 100%. Of course, this is not super cool for us, like getting an Android developer very soon, but it still means that like we're above 100%. Like we can sustain this, and we can make plans, and we can have everything, and that's so cool. And it has been, and you said this so beautifully, I think, in one of the last live streams, what relief this was for us.
Just emotionally.
Emotionally was great.
Knowing that
it's not,
we don't die by default.
Exactly. We don't run against like an end of life, you know. Yeah. It's just like
there's no concrete wall anymore like that we're looking at.
Yeah.
But it's kind of more of an endless road possibilities. And that's just emotionally very, very refreshing, knowing that we won't run against the wall anytime soon, or like looking at the trends, and not anytime soon, but things can change, of course. But yeah, we're really thankful like for all the support we get, and for the community, and
absolutely,
yeah, we absolutely love working on this and pushing it forward. So it's really great to have the support here and. Going forward with this.
And so cool, all the reactions now on the Discord as well regarding this. Yeah, we appreciate all the support and all the help. It is, it is what makes us go. It is what helps us, just develop and keep on improving Portmaster, keep on improving SPN, keep on improving Portmaster, all the Portmaster Plus features, which is also like when people are asking for the export everything, I'm like, well, this will be the sync thing mainly. Like this makes it very easy to export everything, and this will come to Plus and Pro, of course, members first, because those are the people who helped us enable that feature in the first place and develop it. And that's partly like it might come to everyone later as well. We don't know yet. We wanted to sort of like have this as well, but at the moment it's the Plus and Pro members who are helping us to keep developing. And that's the reason why we want to give them back first, so that they also see what they're contributing actually like results in code, you know, results in features, results in experiences, and it's a two-way situation here. It's not just them giving us money and they eventually get something, but it's like actual features, and they're helping us develop that. So super cool. What I wanted to then say is, so we knew that the 3 months are a good measure to sort of like show and pattern out all of that. And of course, for us, we will need to sort of like continue seeing where it goes. And we need to stay at the 100% for longer than just for 3 months as well. So that that person that we're going to hire actually knows that he has a job, and that we don't need to get rid of him within a month or so because, well, the payments did not work as well and so on. So if we're going to hire somebody, and maybe the person is watching, we have had some great experiences with working with people who already are using Portmaster, who know us from the live streams or from back then the podcast and stuff like that. That's a good experience, having people from the community. But again, like if you're watching this, you would probably want to know that your paycheck comes each month, you know? So I guess if you're in that situation and people are talking about salary and money on the Discord at the moment, I guess you all understand. You want to have a reliable income. We understand that as well. So we would not offer somebody a job where we are not sure that we could sustain that person. And basically, I'm not sure how this percentage stuff will continue. But we want to keep you updated, and we want to sort of like, if we're phasing it out, we don't want to do it silently. We want to let you know. Fairly sure we're not gonna do that till the end of like heat death of the universe. But I think the Android developer is a goal that people want. We see that, we understand that. PB asked a different question about Android on YouTube as well. I've seen it, PB, but yeah, we're not sure yet regarding all the Android stuff. It probably has to do somewhat with the capabilities of the developer as well, where that developer feels comfortable. And so we will start there and then continue growing and then looking at what makes sense and stuff like that. I like how Daniel is approaching this, not doing too many promises in like in advance, and then having the like the situation being there, looking at everything, evaluating everything, and making the best decision at that moment, and trying not to sort of like be hindered by some promises we made in the past, but doing the best in the situation right now, which is so good. And yeah, I hope you understand. Everybody understands this as well. This makes for vaguer promises for the future, but better decisions in each moment, and less technical debt, less issues for the future, of course. Okay, lots of messages on the Discord. Do you want to add something about maybe going into PB's specific question about root and stuff?
So PB asked in the YouTube chat if the Android app will have an option to you kind of the root and do the filtering that way instead of using a VPN. That's a really good question. I don't know how exactly the framework looks in that case. So I'm not sure if that is an easy thing to do. Really hard to tell at the moment. Also how compatible that is with the structure of like building the app with the VPN. Because so with the beta we have for Android, there is kind of multiple ways things can go wrong and have to kind of update each other. So the app has a state, and then the VPN has a state, and kind of all these things, and they're independent of each other. And then kind of, I don't know how that will work together with the kind of, if you do it via root, could be easier probably. But hard to tell. So it probably is possible, but we'll have to be looking to that when we get there. So if you're still here, it would be interesting to know like what your use case is on this. Why would you prefer using it over root rather than via the VPN interface that's built for that case? So that'd be interesting.
I guess I just wanted to say I read through all of Discord, and you could probably see in my reactions that I had to laugh a lot, but it's or like start grinning. The bottom of the conversation, I'm not sure if you want to interact with it right now, but yeah, please keep it civil on the Discord. Thank you, Mike. I think like with the ad, of course, this jumps out. Mike said that we try to keep everybody informed, and that's true. And I recently got some direct messages from people in the community about stuff they did not understand. And please ask us questions. The reason why we're doing the live stream every 2 weeks is so that there's a consistency, and that you can ask us in 2 weeks again, or that there will be a Discord chat, a thread where you can ask the questions in advance, and where you can come in and ask the questions. We know that we can improve on communication, which is why we started with the live shows, why we started with trying to be more approachable in that regard, so that stuff that we wrote on our homepage, which we did not update in a while, If it's not like, I don't, as an example, sometimes it's just maybe people who don't read well. Like how often I get the question, why can't I pay Portmaster Pro Plus monthly? And I'm like, because it says billed annually on the screen. But maybe that's not the right way to phrase it. And maybe some people think that's shady. I don't know. It says right there, billed annually. And then they're like, but it's actually 48 euros if it's 4 euros billed annually. I'm like, take the discount, man. I don't know. Be happy. I don't know what you're talking about. You clicked on 4 billed annually and then you're paying only 40. I don't know what's your issue. But please let us know and ask those questions. It helps us understand better what the where we can improve in our communication and stuff like that. And it's always cool for us as well. And also reading all the comments, even if I don't engage with everything that's written on the Discord, it's so much fun to read all that. Which
so
of course is
they're currently asking
as well.
for safing dating app, I guess. Well, safing is about privacy, and I think that already exists. It's called blind dates. That's pretty much what we'd be building, but that already exists, so I don't think we can be competitive there.
Mm-hmm. The good thing about blind dates as well is you already know that person is local to your area, because blind dating somebody online,
that's true.
Seems like a bad idea. You're only in for pain.
Blind dating, that's the most private version. Do not have to share any information up front.
Don't know. Well, that also sounds dangerous. Not advice here. In regards,
wait, this is not legal advice.
It's not. It's not health advice, I would say.
Okay.
Blind dating is not health advice. There was something I wanted to say about live streams and in the future, but well, we are over. That's sort of like I wanted to go into a wrap up situation. It has been a blast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Even though I was not baited into talking about Roblox, or you apparently were baited into talking about that stuff. You can ask your final questions, please. That's why I'm sort of stalling. We will try to answer the next couple of questions. But then we would go and see you in 2 weeks. Node hosting questions.
Did we miss a question? I don't know. Maybe we can answer that in the Discord.
Maybe about node hosting. What's his name again? Pixel thing, I think. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Somebody's writing new wiki pages at the moment about node hosting. Which is super cool. And like the community wiki is actually growing, and we also have some new stuff for like profiles and so on. That's a topic we can talk about maybe next time. How we think about profiles. We did not talk about that in a while because it's like it has been still developing, but it's super cool, and all the help is super much appreciated. And yeah, so node hosting would get easier with that guide. Okay, Moss is asking about rewards. Reducing cost of Pro. This technically we want to implement something like that. We're already like this is already like on the wiki. I'm not sure if we should say we're planning to, if there are no concrete implementation plans at the moment, because we don't know how we would do it. There is stuff in the white paper from like years ago how we think about how we want to do it.
But pretty cool ideas there.
Super cool ideas. Yeah.
But still also complex and
exactly
and all that stuff.
Not simple, not fast, not easy. But we want to continue. We would like to work on this and continue there. At the moment, so if you are watching this and if you're a Portmaster Pro subscriber, you can be super thankful to a lot of the community node operators, because the bigger ones are not asking for anything. They're just like cool people who we are. If they're verified, we're in contact with them. We know them to a certain degree, of course. Did not meet everybody in person. Did not have a video chat with everybody because some of them don't want to. But we write with all of the verified person. And we have means of contacting them and letting them know stuff.
Yeah.
If they're not verified, we have no clue who they are. So,
which is
no
also a good thing on the other hand.
Exactly, because we cannot get them to do stuff and so on.
Yeah.
Community nodes are a good thing. But there are some small ones especially who are like, well, I have this VPS or I have this server. I'd like to maybe get some Portmaster Pro for that. And what we did in the past is we contact them, we look at the node, we look at if it's online, how fast it is, how performant it is. And there have been cases where we then just gave them gift cards in exchange, for instance. So it would be free Portmaster Pro for those people. But yes, this is manual, not automated. And if you're doing this, the node would have to be online for some time. We would need to see that the node actually, because it's not automated. We don't know. If you start the node and then close it again, we lose all the information about that node. So that's basically how that works. Discounts are not a thing at the moment, just because our payment system does not do discounts in any way. So it's we can there are no promo codes or stuff like that. Would love to do that, but again, I think 3 or 4 live streams ago we shared that the payment platform that we built basically is something that we're looking to replace in the longer term future, because we're not a payment company, we're networking and security.
It doesn't
and privacy.
kind of do all the payments. So it's kind of more like a payment kind of process. Not
but it's an account platform.
Yeah, it's an account platform, and it interacts with payment providers, but also internally handles the crypto payments, for example, fully.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is super
with
cool.
their own nodes and everything. So
that is actually
that part is really cool.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the complexity, and that's kind of what we realize the more customer support interactions we have, kind of the complexity that you need in kind of certain areas of customer support is just something that we don't have and we don't want to invest in, because that doesn't make sense. There are other people that can do it better, and we'd rather buy software that does that for us. But of course that incurs switching costs, and will take time to adapt, because we have to reintegrate kind of the Portmaster login and account systems with them and migrate everything. So there's still a lot of work there to do. But the mid-term goal would be to kind of switch platforms. Yeah.
Super cool. Gavin asked a couple of things. Gavin asked what is the lookout of Safing and Portmaster? Are we fully profitable? We are, and that's what we said earlier, and that's what we tried to display in the notification, where we are for the next goal down to 3%. But that means if we're not below, if we're not back to the 100% thingamajig, we're fully profitable. And we have some reserves as well built up from December, as I said. Not a big thing, but we are not looking into any near time whatever situations. And the question, will we ever sell out? No, that's an easy answer, but I understand the question. And the question, especially when looking at stuff like skiff mail and so on, and I actually was involved in some conversations with some other privacy people who are reporting on stuff like that, and then they wanted to sort of create some new ideas of how could they evaluate if a company would sell out for something in the future. And what I told them is, we have gotten offers in the past, and it's just a conscious thing, do you trust those people or don't you, and are they behind that just because they see a profit in the future, or are they behind it because they want to do it and want to work with the community? And I think I back then said it to Mike as well, Mike J. He was on the podcast on the live stream 2 weeks ago, so you can listen to that conversation as well. But it is people, and it is the conversation, it is the fun that we're having right now with talking with everybody. that's sort of like, this is valuable, and not everything is money. We need to pay our bills, and we are profitable, which is good. So we can pay all our bills, also like for kids and family and stuff like that. And so we want to, of course, provide that same thing for the Android developer before he comes and stuff like that. That's the reason why we're conservative in regards to hiring and not overextending ourselves, because then that can bring you in a situation where we have to take a bad deal. So I think the outlook is good. It's good, and it is steadily growing over the months and years. And we're 3 people full time, and we would like to have 4 people this year and continue after that. So that's basically where the direction is going. Saving branded Fedora is what Moss is saying, because Gavin also said something about hat or something. We talked about this, I think, almost a year ago. We looked briefly into creating merch, but it was not that easy, because I don't want to... I like what Linus from LTT is saying about manufactured garbage. I don't like that. So it would be quality stuff. It should be quality stuff. And it should not be too much on the nose. It should be like, that's what I like to wear as well. Like, my shirt has only a small logo on it. That's how I like it. And we looked into getting those shirts because I like wearing them a lot. And they don't do prints on them. They do prints on different shirts, but not on them.
They're a special type of fabric. It's not
exactly.
cotton.
Yeah, it's not cotton. It's not cotton. It's will dye.
Yeah, it's kind of a wood-based thing. Very interesting.
Yeah. If anybody in the community wants to do something like that, we are so open in working with other people who know that stuff, and also would do the stuff like that. We looked into doing it via Spreadshirt.
I think, yeah.
I have stuff from Spreadshirt. It is not bad, but it's not great either.
Yeah.
And so a Spreadshirt shop could be something, but then it would not be special. And things like this mug is from Spreadshirt. It's a Manjaro mug. It's cool from a quality perspective, but it's not special, as I said. And so what we would want to do is a limited run. Maybe it's organized by somebody else or whatever.
Yeah, because there's a big logistical effort behind that too. So
exactly.
The question is, does it advance saving, or is it actually a time investment that we need to take from development time? And that's kind of the big question for us too. Is it actually beneficial?
Yeah,
for us and for our users? And it doesn't have to be like a major beneficial thing. If kind of we see
if it's break even.
If it's just break even, like, okay, that makes sense, and we can make a fun thing here, that'd be great. But my fear is actually that it's going the other direction, and it's actually takes away from the time we spend on Portmaster.
Yeah.
And that's like, maybe not sure about that. So yeah.
Swag trumps advancements. I don't agree, Gavin. But it would be lovely if anybody watching this has ideas, has experiences, maybe with merch as well, has some quality stuff they know of. Let us know. You can also DM us or write an email. My DMs, I think, on Discord aren't open. Write an email. We will look at this. We can work together on this. But yeah, we started looking into it. It was not that easy, and that's why we stopped. So that's that story. I hope we answered everything now. Thank you for all the questions. It really was a blast today. I like those live streams. I like doing them, and yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everybody who is Pro and Plus subscriber. Thank you for everybody who's running a community node. Thank you for everybody who's doing contributions in regards to profiles as well. Link is in the description to the thing, and documentation, and all the cool people on the Discord. Yeah, it's super cool. Have a good one.